Welcome to the Unraveling the Scriptures channel. Surely you are already familiar with the story of the famous giant Goliath, the feared giant of Gath of Philistia. Without a doubt, he is the best-known giant mentioned in the sacred scriptures. However, few are those who are aware of some interesting details and curiosities about the life of this colossus and its family of giants. In this video, we're going to take an in-depth look at the history and origins of each of Goliath's brothers, the 5 giants who shared his bloodline. This is the second part of the series that was created at your request, dedicated to the giants of the Bible. Therefore, I ask you to leave your like, make a comment and share this video with friends, family and other people interested in the topic. Follow the fascinating journey now, the history and origin about the 5 giant brothers of Goliath. Although Goliath is the most famous giant mentioned in the Holy Scriptures, there are still many mysteries surrounding his life, his family and his origin. Few know the true story behind this terrible and monstrous giant of the Holy Scriptures. Among the facts and curiosities about his life, there is an aspect that most people who know his story are unaware of: his genetic relatives, that is, his brothers of the same race. For those who don't know, Goliath had about 5 brothers of the same race, belonging to the race of Rephaim giants, also known as Rephate giants. The biblical text reveals that the 5 brothers of Goliath plotted revenge against King David shortly after receiving news of the death of their brother of the same race, Goliath of Gath, who was defeated by King David himself. These 5 giants, full of rage, sought in every way a way to take revenge and destroy the life of the king of Israel. According to some theorists and experts, one of these giants faced and battled David. However, as we will see in detail later in the video, this giant was killed by one of the friends of one of David's warriors. The people, represented by the warriors of Israel, warned David so that the lamp of Israel would not go out, asking him not to launch himself into new wars or battles in fear of other giants trying to take his life without having anyone there to help him. The biblical text informs us that after the departure of the Israelites from the house of Egypt, the house of slavery and servitude, they found themselves in Canaan with diverse Canaanite peoples, Canaanite tribes and various races of giants. These giants had an impressive stature, reaching around 10 to 15 feet in height and an incredible 6.5 feet in width. A notable example is King Og of Bashan, who was approximately 15 feet tall and 6.5 feet wide. Its body mass was so massive that it required an entire iron bed to support it. He truly resembled a monster. In addition to the Nephilim and the Enochians, the Bible also mentions the Rephaim, or Rephaims, another ancient tribe of giants. They were known to inhabit the region of Bashan, which currently corresponds to part of the territory of Jordan and Israel. The word Rephaim can be translated as mighty men or giants. They are mentioned in Deuteronomy 2 verses 20 to 21 and 3:11, and their kingship is associated with Og, king of Bashan. The Bible also mentions the people of giants called Anakians or Anakims. They were a powerful and tall tribe that inhabited Canaan before the Israelite conquest under Joshua. In Numbers 13:33, the Hebrew spies reported seeing the sons of Anak as giants, which caused fear and doubt among the Israelites. The Bible informs us that most of the giants and races of giants who survived or fled from Joshua and Israel, did so because Israel faced and killed many of them, or at the very least, inflicted serious injuries. Most of these giants found refuge in the lands of Philistia, Mesopotamia, and neighboring countries, in addition to having migrated to Africa. In fact, in practically all regions of the world and in different peoples, there are legends about these terrible giants. This suggests that not only the land of Canaan, but also Mesopotamia, Africa, the Americas, Europe and India were home to giants in ancient times. Now, talking in detail about each one of the brothers of Goliath, they're of the same race of giants. The first giant brother of Goliath was called by the name of Lami, and Lami was a giant, just like Goliath. In 1 Chronicles, chapter 20, verse 5, it says the following about Lami, "And there was war again with the Philistines, and Elhanan the son of Jair smote Lami the brother of Goliath the Gittite, whose spear shaft it was like a weaver's organ." In this verse, we have some curiosities about Lami, brother of Goliath. A very interesting curiosity that is mentioned in this verse is about the size of his spear and also the weight of his spear, because the weaver's organ is huge. That is to say, if his spear was the size of a weaver's organ or similar to a weaver's organ, then beyond a shadow of a doubt it was an extremely heavy and extremely long spear. The giant Lami probably had the same stature as the giant Goliath, or a very similar stature. Some people will claim that the giant Lami was about 10 feet tall, or even 10.5 feet tall. The next giant mentioned in the Bible, who was also one of the brothers of Goliath and of the same race of giants, was known as Isbi-Benob. In 2 Samuel, chapter 21, verse 16, it is reported that Ishbi-Benob, one of the sons of the giants Rephaim, had a spear with a point that weighed about 300 shekels of bronze, being extremely heavy. He also wielded a huge new sword, pointing out that it was a giant's sword. Some say that the spearhead alone weighed around 13 to 15 pounds, indicating its substantial weight. The text describes Isbi-Benob's sword as incredibly sharp and gigantic, fit for a giant. This giant, Ishbi-Benob, who was of the same race as Goliath, tried to hurt David and even kill him. But Abishai, son of Zeruiah and David's ally, came to his rescue and defeated Ishbi-Benob, killing him. It is interesting to note that David personally faced this giant, Ishbi-Benob, in a second battle against another giant. However, David was tired of the continual fighting and needed help. Abishai, his sister's son, came to his rescue and defeated Ishbi-Benob, who was also Goliath's brother. Based on descriptions of the size of Isbi-Benob's weapons and considering him to be a giant, it is likely that he was around 9 to 10 feet tall, or even taller than that. The third brother of Goliath was known by the name of Saph. Saph was also a giant of the Rephate race, as mentioned in the biblical text in 2 Samuel chapter 21, verse 18. In another war against the Philistines, Sibbecai the Hushathite defeated Saph, who was also one of the sons of the giant and race Rephate. As for Saph's stature, it is highly likely that he was a similar height or slightly smaller or larger than the giant Goliath himself. It is quite possible that Saph was about 6 cubits, which amounts to approximately 9 to 10 feet in height. The text also reports in 2 Samuel 21 verse 19 that at that time there was another giant of the same race as Goliath, from Gath, also called Goliath, but known as Goliath Gitthius. The text will say the following about him: there was another battle against the Philistines in Gob, and Elhanan, the son of Jerothorigim the Bethlehemite, smote Goliath the Gittite, whose spear was the shaft like a weaver's organ. Much like one of Goliath's other brothers, this one also had a spear that resembled to a weaver's organ, and most likely about 10 feet high. What arouses the most curiosity about this giant is its own name, which is also the same as that of the giant Goliath that King David faced and killed. In this case, it is Goliath the Gittite, not Goliath of Gath. The biblical text reveals that Goliath had 4 brothers, but it doesn't stop there, as he also had a 5th brother described as a colossal giant. Unlike the other giants, he is not mentioned by name, but in 2 Samuel chapter 21, verse 20, we find information about him. There was also another battle at Gath, where there was a giant, a man of tall stature, who had in each hand 6 toes and on each foot also 6 other 24 toes in all, and also this was a Rephaim. This was also one of the Rephaim race. This giant, not mentioned by name, is described by his terrible and colossal stature, probably the greatest of all giants in the time of King David, surpassing even Goliath and his brothers. His colossal height greatly attracted people's attention, as well as the fact that he had 6 fingers on each hand and on each foot, totaling 24 fingers in total. He was, indeed, an impressive giant. If you didn't already know the story of the giant brothers of Goliath, all of the same race, leave your comments below. And if you already knew, also share your observations in the comments, and especially if you want us to continue with this series about the giants. I hope you all enjoyed this detailed story about each of these giants. See you soon.